Okay, on our next video in our Cadillac DTS series, we're going to be changing the belt tensioner. This is your part number for your belt tensioner. See if I can get you up there. There we go. Alright. See if we can get it opened up here so I can show you what it looks like. And then we'll go through the procedures on changing it. You'll see why we're changing it when I get the old one off. Alright, so this is your replacement tensioner. Now on the other tensioner, this hole's been galled out. You can't get anything in there. So the tensioner sits like this. Put your socket in there, go to pull on it. This is all rounded out. So we got to change it out. All right, step one to do that. Make sure you don't have any other hardware in here that you're going to have to change out. Okay, this one comes with a new bolt. So we'll set that down in there like that. There's our O-ring from our power steering job. All right, so I believe that's a 15 millimeter, but before we get to that point, we gotta get our belt pulled back off. So I'll show you how we did that in the first time. Hopefully, we can get it pulled off and not have issues with our ratchet getting stuck. To get our belt off, we had to use Bertha. So, stuff Bertha down in this hole down in here. You just got to kind of rock her in there. Might have to pull this air conditioning line back so you can get your tool in there. Normally, that belt tool that I use, that serpentine belt tool, is how you would get this apart. And we're going to use it to put the new belt on, so that way you can see exactly how you're supposed to do it. Alright, so I gotta move my ratchet back so we can, because I gotta pull it back in here because it's banging up against this front motor mount. So we get our Bertha in there. Maybe if she'll go in today. Probably should have left the belt off. But that's a little late for that now, isn't it? Let me see if I can rotate this to a different direction so we can get it down in there. Anyway, you're going to get your socket down in there and you're going to wedge it down in there like that, see? And then, as soon as you get it down in there, you let it rest all the way down to the end. And then somehow we're going to pull this thing back. So I'm going to have to reach down in here and reset my trip on this thing. And figure out how to do it. Usually, if you push this up into the hole all the way, you get a little extra room. You can reach down in here with your hand and trip this lever. Yeah, let's get our screwdriver and we'll trip it with our screwdriver. Alright, I'm going to take our screwdriver. I'll show you what we're doing here. On our ratchet, it's got a thumb twist, okay? So what you're doing is you're taking your screwdriver and you're changing the direction so that we can pull. So now we can, you see how I got that wedge down in there? Kind of get that into focus here. Zoom down a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. And now we can pull our tensioner back and we can get our belt off. So I'm going to pull our belt off now. And let's see here. This tensioner is a pile of garbage. The new one I hope is a hell of a lot better than this one is. Alright. Alright, we're going to have to take our screwdriver and try to do it this way because our tensioner is broken. So we're going to have to pry our belt off like this. Don't do this unless you have to, by the way. And then we're going to change our direction back on our ratchet so that we can get our ratchet back out. See that? And we take our Alright, and we can pull our ratchet back out. Our belt's off, which is fine because we're changing it. That down there is a 15 millimeter socket. I'm going to show you how we get it. We get it with this bad boy right here. So let me catch you up on what I've been doing. We had to unhook this to get a bolt or a nut down there that holds the air conditioning line to the body of the car. There's another one that sits right down inside this little U-shaped thing right down there. You don't have to pull that one. I did that because I was going to try to pull the fuse box up and out. That's why the fuse box is unhooked. So we've got our seat pulled out, our battery's unhooked. So I think the easiest way to do this, if you have to do it, is take this bolt loose and take this nut loose and support the engine with a jack. Just pull this dog bone up and out. As far as how we're going to get it out of the car, we can either slide it up from our power steering pump, or I'm going to have to take this bracket off that holds the dog bone, pull it out that way. But like I said, this is a 15 millimeter nut or a bolt right here. I got it loose. So let's see what we got to do here to get this. All right, so we got a bolt down there, we got to pull. We got a bolt up here, we got to pull. And then we got to get this dog bone loose on the end over here. So let's see, those look like they're 17 millimeter sockets. We got an 18 wrench right here. Let's see if it's close by to what I'm thinking. Oh, they're 18s. They're 18s. Okay, so I've got a deep 18 for my ratchet. We're going to go ahead and pull the dog bone loose. I'm going to get a jack underneath the oil pan just in case we have movement. So I'm going to get set up and then we're going to get this dog bone pulled off. All right, let's get you zoomed in a little bit better here. All right, we're getting ready to pull our dog bone out. Got the nut on the back taken off. This is what it looks like. Pulling this front bolt out. I've got a jack underneath the oil pan, so holding it up just in case it wants to go somewhere. We got it ready to go. And I just put just enough tension on it just to hold it in place. I didn't try to jack the engine up because we don't have to. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll pull our dog bone out. Got our dog bone out. This one's broken. Okay, this is a broken dog bone. So when I'm all done, I'm going to let the customer know that he needs another motor mount. And then I'm going to show it to him. But for right now, just to get to this pulley, we're going to get this assembly removed. And then we can get to our pulley. I'll show you where we're at here, just so you can see what we're doing. See where my ratchet's at? That's the center bolt of the pulley. We got to take this bracket loose. There's a bolt here. There's a bolt down there you can't see. And then this bracket comes off. And then we can pull our tensioner out from the top. We don't have to disturb our power steering pump. So let me make sure that you're in prime viewing position for what we can do here, all things considered. And get these bolts broke loose. I believe those are going to be 15 millimeter. You'll find out in just a minute. I gotta go get me a 15 millimeter socket. Nope, it is a 15. Okay. All right, we're ready to go. So we'll start by pulling this top bolt out. Pay attention in case these have longer bolts and spots and shorter bolts than others, because you're going to have to put it back the way it was. And then the bottom bolts down here in the bottom of the case down here, we got to pull this air conditioning line back so we can get down on it. We can break this one free. The fun part's going to be putting these bolts back in. I say that sarcastically. We got another AC bolt. Nope, that's the power steering return lines bolted to the end down here. So you want to kind of watch that. Now what I'm going to try to do is leave that bolt in there and leave it loose. Kind of roll this around as we need to. So let's see if we can do that. We'll take our top bolt out. Pull our top bolt out, and then we're going to take this and slide it forward. That way we don't have to mess up getting that bottom bolt back in. That looks like it's going to be a chore. I'm just saying. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pull this bolt out. This is a very long bolt for what it's doing. There's our top bolt. Set it over here. And we're going to see if we can roll this forward. We can, but we got to get that return line unhooked. So that's going to be a 13mm socket. So let me go get one of those. Alright. Don't mind that noise. That's the neighbor deciding to interrupt my recording by using her blower, which she could use at any other time. She just chooses to use it now. Like I said before, my neighbors have no respect for anything that I do. I do it because I love to do it. If I was out for respect, I wouldn't do anything because I don't get any. Which is fine by me because I can do without it sometimes. Alright, see how we got an issue there. We're going to put our bolt back in. So we can loosen up this other bolt down here. And zip this bolt in. And all you want to do is just for leverage, so we're just going to take it like that, and then we can take our hand, put it against our other bolt, and get this one loose. Just like that. And you reach down here with your hand and unscrew it, because this is aluminum. It's not like steel, so as soon as you get the initial torque broke on it, you can actually spin it out with your fingers. So at least GM was forward thinking in that part. And then in a minute you'll see our power steering line, our return line will be loose. That's all this bolt does. It holds the power steering return line. So with the bolt out, see our line's flopping around now? So see what you can see here. Let's put you more like this, because this is about where we're going to be here in a minute. And you see there's someone else running a chainsaw, or whatever the hell that is over there. Don't really care. I mean, if they're going to be idiots, they're going to be idiots whether it's today, tomorrow, the next day, whatever. And see, now we can pull this back. I'll show you what we got here. This looks like a fiery mess. I'm just telling you ahead of time. Be warned. So this is what we got done. Got that bolt out of the top there. That goes in that hole right there on the power steering pump. This hole down here holds the return line, which is right there. See that? Okay. Actually, it holds it from the other. See, it holds it like that. See? And this here rolls up so you can get that out. So now we got to get the bolt out. Then we pick it straight up and out. We'll clean the area up. We'll put the new tensioner in. Then that'll end it for this video. Then we will start up another one where we put the belt on. Fun times, huh? So that's about what we're doing. So let me get this pulled out. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll start getting a new one put in. Okay, I finally got the bolt out. You're going to need a speed wrench for this. 15mm speed wrench. When you get to a part where you get the bolt head out away from the end of the tensioner, you're going to have to get it with one of these until you can spin it out by hand. I'm going to just pick this up, slide your bolt back to make sure it's all the way out of the engine, lift it up, you got to rotate it just a little bit, leave the bolt in it, and you might pull your belt up with it too, but yeah, this sucker's smoked. It is smokied. I'll show you that this is why we're changing it. Okay, now I'm going to compare it to the new one. You see the difference here? That's why we're changing it, because you can't get a tool in there to loosen the tensioner. Plus this tensioner is trashed. So we're going to leave our bolt in it. Before we continue forward, since we're changing the belt on this, let's go ahead and pull our belt out from our engine compartment. Before we put the dog bone and everything back together, we're going to take the opportunity to thread our belt. That'll be in a different video. See, our belt's even chewed up. See that? Our belt's chewed up too. This is indicative of AutoZone parts. That's why I don't use AutoZone. So, yeah, I know, they're cheap. There's a reason for them being cheap. It's so you come back and buy more stuff from them. And then the terrible cycle continues forever and ever until you say enough. Let me show you what that looks like when you get that tension off. See, that's what you got down there now. You got an empty hole. That's where your bolt fits in. That's your alignment pin. Check your new one. Should have an alignment pin on the back. The way that you install this is you leave the bolt in it. Slide it down till you get the alignment pin in the hole. Then you get some thread started with the bolt and it goes right in. So let me get this put back on and then we'll move on to something else. I think at this point I might go ahead and say stop on this, because after this goes back in, I think that's a 14mm bolt on the new one. We got a 13 right here. Nope, it's going to be a 13. Your new bolt's going to be 13mm. If you want to use the old bolt, you're more than welcome to, but I like to use the new hardware when it comes in. So you're going to line this up, like I just said, on that pin down here. You're going to put your bolt back in here. Then at this point, we're going to start the next video, which is our belt change. So stay tuned for that. And as far as this part goes, we'll see you on the next one.